What is going on, guys? So I installed a set of LED flush mount pod lights on my Jeep Grand Cherokee, and I wanted to make this video on how I installed them and if it was worth to get these or not. So these are LED flush mount light pods. They're by Nightlight. You can get them for like $24 on Amazon. You can either go with the flush mount or you can go with the other one that comes with a bracket and you can bolt it onto something. I preferred these for the back because I could have put them in the bumper or in the trunk or really anywhere you wanted to. These are the other style that you can get that just come with a bracket and then you can bolt it onto something. These are about the same price, a little bit cheaper. You can either do this or you can go with the flush mount or a full-on light bar. So the way that you would want to install these flush mount pod lights is these 6 bolts all come off, and then this flush mount plate comes off, and it would just be the 4-inch light itself. You would flip the light around, place it somewhere wherever you want it. You take a marker and you outline the actual light and you start cutting. Now once you start cutting, you can either use a Dremel like I did and cut the hole out, or you can use a grinder, which you're going to want a smaller blade than that because that's bigger than the hole. I prefer the Dremel because you can get a much smaller bit and just take your time with it and cut it shorter than you need to and then sand the rest. The grinder you might cut way too much, so I prefer a Dremel. Once you get the lights sitting where you want them permanently, it's going to be time to wire them. So you can get a harness like I did. You can get it at Walmart for $9. You can either wire these to a standalone switch to where you can flip the switch on whenever you want and it'll come on, or you can wire them to your reverse light so that they come on every time you put it in reverse. I wanted a standalone switch, so I went with this. So this harness normally isn't long enough, so you'll have to get like extra wire just to run it all the way through. So I got a roll of 18 gauge and just wired it to the lights from here, and I ran it down to where the harness stopped from the battery up front, and then where it stopped, that's where I ran the rest of the wire. So you can see that my wire comes through here, it goes all the way down this, and then right here I gave it some slack so that every time I open the trunk there's enough for it to actually reach. And then the wire comes down here, it goes in my panels and then starts going underneath the panel all the way down to the floor. So you can see my harness is already ran to the battery. This is it right here. You can see my relay down there. I didn't mount it yet. So the harness goes from the battery all the way down there, and we ran it into the firewall. We drilled a hole into the firewall, and that's how it goes through. You can try to like run the wire down this and then in between the door, but this wire was pretty thick, so we just did it that way. So the wires are coming right there through the firewall, and you can see that this wire right here, that goes to your switch, that runs up to my dash, and the rest of the wire runs along here. This is your positive negative, and this is where I had to crimp it so that it would reach. And then the wire goes all the way down the panels and then up to the lights. So once you get all your wires ran and make sure the lights actually work, it's time to mount your switch so that it sits on your dash wherever you want. So I put mine right here, just easy access. Now that's a different switch. This is the one that comes with the harness, and I didn't like this, so I just bought one from Advance Auto and put that right there. For the switch, you just gotta drill a hole in the back, and this switch, there's like a back screw on the back, and it will just tighten on the other side of this so that it sits there flush. Nothing too hard. So once everything's finished, you can start tucking the wires, make everything look nice. And as you can see, my switch works and my lights work. At nighttime they're pretty bright. I think they're worth the $24, especially with this brand. Rough Country, theirs is like $80, and they do the same thing as these. I just wanted these lights for like when I'm in the woods and I'm backing up and I can't see. So that'll help me, and I can just turn them on whenever I want, instead of if you ran to the reverse light. So if you're mounting them lights on the front and you don't want to run a standalone switch, you can run it to like something like I did, a fog light switch. So you can see I can factory switch, turn it on, and come up to the front, and then them lights are on. So you can do the same thing. You don't have to use a standalone switch, but I wanted to for the back so that it doesn't come on with anything else. It's just separate lights. Alright guys, that's how I installed my LED flush mount pod lights. Let me know if you have any questions or anything that I left out of the video. All the links to everything I use should be in the description. And by the way, if you couldn't tell, the Jeep got some new tires. Got some new 33s, 12.5 wide, 15-inch rim. She should be ready for the winter. Just got some more cutting to do because it's rubbing again. But alright guys,